The president wants to get a good deal. He's worried that Democrats' unwillingness to actually put the country ahead of their party is what's stalling things from moving forward, whether it's the budget or whether it's a deal on DACA. I think they're using it as an excuse not to help this president get something accomplished, which I think is a sad day for our country, that they're willing to throw away the progress and negotiations and not make big steps that we need to happen.
Yeah, Sarah Sanders there speaking the truth. She speaketh the truth. Today at around 2:30 our time, there's supposed to be a press briefing at the White House in which it's believed that the president's physician will be introduced, who will then comment on his recent health checkup. That's possible. So if that happens, we'll go to it.
Can I make a prediction?
What's that?
He is the most fittest president in United States history.
That's possible. Yeah, I think that you might be onto something. He's
in history.
In history,
yes,
ever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mark has built a tremendous show here. I know tremendous. Did I mention I built a tremendous company?
Could be, his health could be tremendous.
Tremendous.
It could be. It could be tremendous.
Yes. I thought I heard
tremendous. Yeah.
Excellent.
China.
China.
Like how he says China.
Billions and billions.
Billions and billions.
So, Chris, I mean, I commented on this a little bit earlier, but go ahead and play cut number 1, and I want to get Chris's reaction to this, please.
You don't have to spray paint the N-word over the Oval Office and sleep with a KKK hood to be a racist. If you have racist policies, say racist things, operate in a racist manner, you are a racist. Period. End of story.
Al Sharpton, race pimp extraordinaire, accusing the president of that. You know, I listened this morning. Jamie played it. I had the bite, and I forgot to copy it over, but of Jesse Jackson heaping praise on Donald Trump back in 1998. Because, of course, he had donated money to the Rainbow Coalition. God knows what kind of extortion levels he had to pay to get that kind of praise from Jesse Jackson. There's a picture of Al Sharpton shaking hands with him. Mm-hmm. They loved him back then. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, because he's not toeing the Democrat Party line, he's a racist. It's a phrase that's used to eviscerate your competition.
That is part of it, but I've said many times on this show that a lot of black people, liberal black people, will be forever mad at Donald Trump because of the whole birth certificate deal with Obama.
Arpaio doubled down the other day.
I'm just saying that's a big part of it. But I want to tell you, I make a distinction between a racist and a person who is racially insensitive. A racist to me is somebody who would say, I don't want to be around a black person. If you marry my daughter, that's terrible. That calls you N-words. I don't want to be anywhere around them. That's a racist. I think you have people that can be racially insensitive and may say some things that may be off-putting to them, but I don't necessarily know if that makes you a racist. And I think President Trump may be in that latter category. But I don't think Donald Trump is going around saying N-word every other day, and I don't want black folks in the White House and they're this and that. I don't think he is like that. But I think he is I think he is racially insensitive.
Nothing in his record. He just speaks his mind. There's nothing in his record to suggest racism. Somebody tried to argue during the election that there was a court case one time where somebody alleged that in one of the apartment buildings he owned or something, somebody had been, I don't know, had been biased against somebody who lived there who was black. And that's what they've tried to, it was disputed by him, but that's what they dragged up.
I researched all this during the campaign. What it was the Justice Department brought suit against Donald Trump and his father because they were supposed to have practices where they were not renting to black people. And they didn't admit guilt, but they paid a fine. There's another aspect of him that people think he's racist because of that Central Park case with those with the jogger. When those guys were exonerated, Donald Trump placed a full-page ad saying they should get the death penalty and all that stuff, and he's never taken that back, even though these guys were exonerated by DNA evidence. Those little things like that are what gives people the idea that he's a racist.
So people who still think OJ is guilty are racist? He was exonerated.
I think that's a leap there from what we're talking about.
I'm just saying. I mean, it just seems like they're having to go some distance to try to make this argument just to try to tear down his agenda.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with this, this S-hole comment that was made really shows the dysfunction of Washington, if you ask me. Because can you imagine in the 80s or before that, or even with Bill Clinton, if leaders were in the White House from different parties and they were trying to negotiate something in good faith, and the president may have said something that may have been a little off color or whatever, there is no way that a Democrat or somebody the opposite party, the first thing they would do after they leave the White House is get in front of a microphone and say, hey, look what the president said. He's a racist. It just illustrates just how far we've come in our discourse in politics. Something like that never would have gotten out back in the day. They may have said, hey, we don't agree the president said that, but they never would have embarrassed him like that because they want to have relations with him later to get stuff done.
They want to have relations with him.
Well, you know what I mean.
You mean a relationship?
Relationship.
Oh, thank you for clearing that up, because then somebody would say he was sexist. You can't have that,
You just messed up my brilliant point I made.
No, I did not.
I thought that was brilliant.
I saw a great meme on this whole Hawaii missile alert thing. If you think their missile alert system's broken, you should see their birth certificate system. Okay, yeah.
I'm a sellout for laughing at that. You know that?
That's funny. I'm sorry, but that's some funny
just
stuff.
Made me a sellout for
Let
laughing
me
at that.
get to a couple of phone calls here since people have been holding a while. Let me get to Terry on line 3. Terry, you're on the air.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Hey, I keep hearing all this stuff about the government shutdown, and I've heard it before. It's a common thing, around stuff like this. But I really don't understand what it means for the government to shut down. And if they do shut down, do I have to keep paying taxes if they ain't doing their job?
The last time it shut down, I didn't notice. I mean, I'm not on public assistance, and I don't draw Social Security yet or anything like that. My understanding is those checks still get issued even if the government's shut down. So I guess it's non-essential government stuff that gets closed. I don't know. I didn't notice last time.
They need me. I don't really need them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.